এটা কিন্তু আমি এটা করতেছি, বুঝছেন? মডারেশন, মডারেটর আমি মডারেটর। ঠিক আছে, বেশি হয়ে গেছে। আমি বলতেছি, ঠিক আছে, আরেকটু আরেকটু ওদিকে আসবে। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, ঠিক আছে, এবার ঠিক আছে। লাইট আর দিব স্যার? হ্যাঁ, এত লাইট কেন?
এইদিকে দাও, ওদিকে ডাউন
ঠিক আছে, ক্লিয়ার দেখুন। আচ্ছা, গট ইট। ঠিক আছে, আসছে না? ওকে, এই যে এখানে আমরা কনফারেন্স হচ্ছে তুরস্কে, যেটা যেটা পারেন এই অনলাইনে। হ্যাঁ, প্রেজেন্টেশন হবে। এটা আমি কিন্তু শুরু করবো, বুঝছেন? টাকা দামের চৌধুরী উনি কি আমাদের ফ্যাকাল্টি না?
জি জি।
তখন পরে সাউন্ড আসলো,
টেস্টিং ছিল।
এটা কি মেক করা আনলিমিটেড? হ্যাঁ,
মিউট করা থাকবে না?
না, এটা আমি তো কথা বলবো, প্রথমে আমার বক্তব্য। থেকে আসছে লুকমান জিবরিন, একজন আসছে তবে নুর আব্দুল আফরা, এরা তো জয়েন করে না। আরো আছে নাকি এখানে? কি লিখছে? রেকর্ডিং,
রেকর্ডিং
রেকর্ড হচ্ছে।
মিটিং এর কনভেনার কি বা প্রেজেন্টেশন?
আমি আমি
আপনি
আমাকে আমার নাম প্রথম তো আমাকেই দিচ্ছে ভাই।
সালাম দেন, আমাদের সাথে কথা
শুরু করি।
বলেন, আপনারা কেউ
Dear participants, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. This is Professor Sheikh Anwar Hussain. Welcome you all to this online hall session. IAC Conference 2024, Samsun, Turkey. In this session, there are 4 parts are to be present, online version. The 4 speakers are: number 1, Professor Dr. Sheikh Anwar Hussain; number 2, Lukman Jabli; number 3, Noor Abdul Afra; number 4, Professor Dr. Engineer প্রথমবারটা একটা সাউন্ড আসছে। ওকে, আচ্ছা একটা শেয়ার কোনটা
আপনার কথা শুনতে পাচ্ছি কিনা এটা
শুনবে কেড়ে দিব।
ক্যান হিয়ার মি?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, ওই যে লুকমান জি। হ্যাঁ, হ্যালো participants, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you from my end.
Thanks, many thanks.
Yeah.
You are Lukman Jibli.
Yes, exactly.
Another 2 participants not yet join us. Our time is limited, so
I think we should start. Already 8 minutes gone. So, at first, my presentation. This is Dr. Sheikh Anwar Hossain. My topics is challenge on quality assurance and outcome of higher education institutions in Bangladesh. Share.
Yes.
Share. Anyway, the view, full screen. Yes, this is the first slide. Welcome slide. Welcome to the talk on this topic, challenge on quality assurance and outcomes of higher education institutions in Bangladesh. The next slide, introduction. In introduction, I want to say the growth and socioeconomic development depends upon new knowledge and technology. These are mostly generated in higher educational institutes. The quality of higher education is the main key to generate new knowledge and technology. So, assurance of quality in higher education institutions is an important issue. The objectives of this article are to find some elements that extraordinarily influence the quality of higher education in Bangladesh. Bangladesh government was taken Ihecon project with the help of World Bank, and after then IQAC project was taken for 3 years. Now, every qualified university in Bangladesh has established IQAC using their own capacity to enhance the quality of education. Bangladesh Accreditation Council has been established to manage the quality assurance of higher education in Bangladesh. Quality assurance in higher education is a mechanism by which academic standards can be achieved. David D. Gill identified quality assurance in higher education as graduates learning outcomes having specific level of knowledge, skills, and ability that graduates achieved. Rand P. found that the quality of educational programs meet local and global standards simultaneously has become a great challenge. The principles of Council of Higher Education Accreditation, International Quality Group, are consistent with the existing international standards and guidelines, such as the 2005 UNESCO OECD guidelines for quality provision in cross-border higher education. The 2007 INQAAC guidelines of good practice for quality assurance. As Sultana found that job market demand-based learning is necessary for the students. J. Hossain, 2016, found that organizational structure labs, governance labs, modern teaching approach gaps, syllabus and curriculum design problems, etc. are barriers for quality assurance. Sorry. S.A. Hossain stated that the success of outcome-based education process depends upon sustainable quality assurance practices in higher education institutions. In this global era, tertiary education must be of global standard. We need navigating global challenges and opportunities of higher education. Higher education institutions are responsible and accountable to develop the quality culture. Academic environment is an important issue in this country, which to be served by the government, research, students, and all party politicians. Transparency and accountability of higher education institutions and government management are must to create academic environment. The government, the university, teachers, industries, students, and their families should work together to improve the quality of higher education. Discipline in financial sector of the country should be maintained to create new jobs. Some measures on quality assurance in Bangladesh. UGC is the premier organization for quality assurance in higher education in Bangladesh. Recently, government initiated IQAC and Bangladesh Accreditation Council (BAETE) to maintain quality in higher education. Besides this, BMDC, Pharmacy Council of Bangladesh, Bangladesh Market Council are engaged in enhance the quality of higher education. There are two stages of quality assurance process. Number one, internal quality assurance system, which can be formed by the institutional own arrangement within the institutions to provide assurance of quality teaching learning environment. And IQAC is responsible for this process. Number two, external quality assurance process. External quality assurance systems supply the necessary documents to update higher education institutions, academic programs, and standards with the equivalent national and international standards, and to set benchmark for further improvement. UGC, Bangladesh Technical Council, BAETE, BMDC, PCB, BBC are responsible for this process in this country. The College Education Development Project, CEDP, was established to enhance the quality education in college level. Bangladesh National Qualification Framework, DNQF, is formed with the collaboration of UGC to enhance the quality education in Bangladesh. Higher Education Accreditation Council and Higher Education Acceleration and Transformation, HEAT. HEAT project is established recently with objectives of job market-based curriculum update, enhancing of quality of higher education, and increasing the digital connectivity among the higher education institutions. This HEAT project will establish a common platform for higher education and research in South Asia and encourage the innovation in social science and science and technology. Quality assurance system. The quality assurance indicates institutional arrangement with infrastructure, good practice, and good principles for education and good research. Quality assurance system indicates that graduates achieve the prefixed standard in terms of knowledge, skill, attitude, and values that expected by the stakeholders. It is continuous process of improvement the quality. Quality assurance system is combination of internal quality assurance and external quality assurance. The three main components of outcome-based education are program outcomes, PO, teaching learning outcomes, TLO, and program assessment, PA. The OB process is the integration of its three components. Mathematically, we can indicate as OBE is equal to integration of this three part, PO, TLO, and PA. The principles of quality assurance move toward greater accountability, transparency, and credibility QA system should focus on safeguarding the interest of major stakeholders. The passing out graduates must be well equipped with requisite qualifications, skills, and attitude that the global society wants. Quality of learners with commitment and interest to explore their potentials and maximizing the learning opportunity. Teachers must be qualified and dedicated. They are the pilots of the education system. Recruiting and retaining qualified teachers, academic achievements and experience, teachers compensation and remuneration, teaching technology considered as a tool. Quality assurance system in higher education institution is a global issue now. Demand for quality assurance mechanism is increasing at national and internationally. Management of higher education institutions become more aware about the performance in terms of quality of graduates, that ability to meet the needs of the global society. Bangladesh Accreditation Council has become intermediate member of Asia Pacific Quality Network, APQN, in 2020. And World Bank and UNESCO created a partnership that introduced the global initiative for quality assurance capacity to enhance the evolution of quality assurance in higher education in the developing country. Quality assurance network have been established among the member countries for cooperation among them and develop the quality of education, such as Asia Pacific Quality Networks, APQN, Quality Assurance Network for African Higher Education, Arabs Network for Quality Assurance in Higher Education, European Network for Quality Assurance in Higher Education. The present study. In this study, we found that campus violence, especially in public universities, is a barrier of quality assurance of higher education in Bangladesh. It is found that job market demand-based learning is necessary for our students. The teachers' politics in public universities are problem for quality assurance in higher education. In this global era, tertiary education must be a global standard. Government, higher education institutions, students and their families should work together to improve the quality of higher education. Students' quality should be checked before admission into undergraduate program. Government has responsibility to keep learners-friendly environment in every educational institute of the country. Government should take necessary measures to solve every inequity in the society, to avoid violence in the campuses. Otherwise, anti-government party and competitive foreign country can get opportunity to make violence and riot in the society, to make the country weak. Research recruitment should be fair and competence, and other job markets should be competitive and with fair selection process. Government agencies should monitor and assess the quality of higher education institution and program offering entity properly and take necessary steps to up to date the quality. Research method. The secondary analysis research method is used in this article for observations and detailed documentation of a phenomenon of interest. This study is based on secondary data and information source. Data and information are collected from scholarly published articles and reports of relevant organizations. Findings. It is found that government of Bangladesh realized the necessity of quality assurance in higher education and took some steps to enhance the quality of higher education with the help of World Bank. Table 1. Table 1 shows the percentage of unemployment graduate in Bangladesh. We see that in 2015 and 16, the unemployment rate was 8.3%. And in 2016 and 17, it was 11.20%. And in 2020 and 21, it became 33.33%. The source is Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics report on labor force survey 2016 and 17, 2020-21. The unemployment rate among the graduates of Bangladesh is increasing from 2015 to 2021. Bangladesh universities in US ranking in 2023 in Asia. There are only 24 universities out of 151 Bangladeshi university could place among 850 universities in Asian region in 2023. Recommendations and conclusion of this presentation. Our students should have global standard quality education to serve the global society. The effective quality assurance system can improve the quality of higher education institutions. Transparency and accountability in higher education institutions and financial sector in the country should be maintained for better academic environment and increasing job market. Research recruitment should be fair and competence. Government agencies should monitor and assess the quality of higher education institutions and program offering entity properly. Academic competition among the universities can improve the quality of learning. We should introduce some job-oriented courses in basic and fundamental programs in higher education. These are the reference I used this presentation, and I used more than 20 reference in my original paper, research paper, and in this PowerPoint presentation I used only 9 reference. I am acknowledged to these organizers and host of IASE conference 2024, Shamsan Zaki, to select me to present my presentation and article. Thanks for your patience. Question, please. Any question, please?
Yes, so I have one question for you, sir. Thank you for the presentation and the information you have provided.
Yes,
I wanted to ask, how is higher education access in Bangladesh, and how does quality assurance schemes make sure that people from disadvantaged backgrounds, people from poor communities are able to access education? How does the quality assurance system in Bangladesh balance these particular two extremes? Because we want quality education system, but we also know that there are some students from very poor backgrounds who want to participate in the higher education system. So what is the balance between quality assurance and educational equality in higher education in Bangladesh?
Thank you. You asked mainly focused on poor peoples.
Yes.
Poor peoples.
Yeah. Disadvantaged people. Yeah.
In Bangladesh, there are more than 50 public universities. There where the tuition fees are within the capacity of maximum student per country in public universities. And there are more than 100 private university where the tuition fee is high. But in affordable for middle class students, middle income students, middle income guardians, students. Okay. So the poor people also get admitted in private university. There are access by quota, and 2% of the seat of private university are reserved for remote area people. They are poor. They are living in remote area, and they are who are poor. For their 2% seats of higher education, undergraduate level, are reserved for poor people in our private universities. And in public university, they in both public university and private university, they have to pass the admission test. At first they apply for admission test. Who have the minimum score in school certificate exam and high school certificate exam. Some minimum score they have to earn before the admission test to participate in admission test. In my article, I also said that students have a minimum qualification to admit in undergraduate program. They have to maintain this. And in public university, they have to pass the admission test and within the merit list. Not only pass, they have to include it in merit list. Merit base, they can admit in the public university and also in private university by passing admission test. This is the process. Access for poor people.
Okay. Thank you so much for your question, for answering. Okay. Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay. No question more. Thank you. Now I welcome Mr. Lukman Jiblim to present your presentation, please.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, I see. It's the environmental picture.
But you cannot see the presentation itself, can you?
I can see and I can hear you. I also see your first
okay, that's good.
Internationalization of Higher Education Conference.
Yes.
2024. Okay.
Yes, good. So my presentation is going to be based on what internationalization means for countries without world-class universities. You know, it is common knowledge that now to be able to participate in internationalization, I mean, you need to have high quality institutions
Thank you, sir.
that can attract quality students into the country. For example, if you mention America, China, they all have that one particular university that comes to mind, and everybody wants to go there. So if you don't have world-class institutions, it is hard to participate in the internationalization adventure that many countries now are trying to benefit from. So I'm going to start by giving a brief history of internationalization and the current state, and then try to make my case for countries that have no world-class institutions and what it also means for the development of social justice in the international higher education space. Okay, so first I want to talk about the evolution of internationalization in higher education. So we see that it is an old concept, since the inception of the university in the medieval ages. We see that universities were centers where people travel from all across the world to go and learn. And Bologna is known as the first, university in Europe, at least, that attracted scholars from almost all over the world. So internationalization has actually been part of higher education culture for academic pursuit, purely for academic pursuit. So we see that in those ages, Latin was the language of education, and many people were traveling just to study and then go back to their home countries and spread this knowledge. Then we see that in 1800 up to the Second World War, things changed, right? Internationalization took a different stage. People now asking what the rationale for internationalization was. And so up to the Second World War, we see several interventions. For example, in the United States, the Institute of International Education was established. And this one has diplomatic missions. They were meant to spread peace, make sure that they send people to, give out word about the need for cooperation and international harmony. And in the United Kingdom, we have similar initiatives, right? We have the British Council, which was also geared towards promoting peace and also spreading cultural harmony, spreading the message of cultural harmony between civilizations or among civilizations. And in Germany, we have a similar organization emerging after at least after the First World War, which is the German Academic Exchange Service, which was established in 1925. So all of these missions were meant to promote internationalization of higher education, but with an agenda. What was the rationale? The rationale was to promote cooperation, harmony, and ensure world peace in the world. Okay. Then we see that this entered a different stage, the third stage of international, which is from the Second World War to present. We see a change in rationale, the reasons why people participate in internationalization. So we see that the political rationale was still dominant. For example, we see that in America, after the First World War, after the Second World War, they established the Fulbright Scholarship in 1946. So many Fulbright scholars were like diplomats in several countries. And also they pick bright students from other countries to go to America and study. And all of these were meant to what? Enhance cultural exchange and also ensure harmony. Okay, so they were sending out cultural diplomats and they were training cultural diplomats for other countries who will represent them, who will spread the message of peace, harmony, across all countries. And also we see in Europe, after the Second World War, Europe was still building. They were devastated in the Second World War. Germany lost, and many countries in Europe especially, they lost. And so we see that they were focused on internal cooperation among themselves. So we have the Cold War era after 1945. We see that Russia, especially in America, were trying to influence other countries, and that was still with the political rationale, right? They were trying to influence third world countries to make sure that they have them to back their own cause. So we see the USSR and America, competing. So the rest of the world was like a ground for them to compete for influence. Okay. Then we have the new independent countries from colonialization. For example, in Africa, in 1957, Ghana gained independence, and subsequently other countries gained independence. And all of these countries started participating heavily in internationalization. And not only that, the United Kingdom and other colonial countries like France, they started developing programs for these new independent countries to come and learn and train their human resource. And also in these countries, there was the need to develop their human resource. So we see that cultural academic exchange was very intense in in this particular period, because they needed to send people to train engineers, train diplomats, and so there was intense exchange between colonial countries and also the developed countries. Then we see a new phase in this development in the 1980s, especially in the UK. They made a decision in 1979 to introduce full cost tuition fees for all international students. So in the past, they used to at least give full scholarship to students, which was like an aid. But now we see that there was a movement from aid to what? To trade. So any new student who was coming to the UK to study had to pay full tuition fees. And we saw that there was a movement from, the political and cooperation rationale to pure financial rationale or economic rationales. And in the European community, there was still cooperation. They were still trying to cooperate among themselves. We see the European Community Action Scheme for the Mobility of University Students, which is the Erasmus. It was established in 1987. This enhanced cooperation, and I think this is the kind of internationalization that we want, because it has that spillover effect to countries that have weaker educational systems. Because of their participation in this program, they were able to, build their own higher education institution to the standard of the European community. And this had mutual effect on almost all participating institutions. And it opened the doors for students to, travel among European countries to study and also learn. And it was also important for them, especially after the Second World War, to ensure that, common European culture, get to understand and appreciate the diversity of the European community. Then in the same Europe, we see that there were calls for change, because if you look at the Erasmus, not every student was able to participate. So it was like an advantage. If you are able to go outside and study, you had that added advantage. So people were like, what about those who cannot participate? They have the right to. So we see that there was a new development, internationalization at home, where people are saying, okay, we have to internationalize the curriculum, make sure that everyone is able to participate and have that international understanding of how the world operates. Okay. So after the Second World War, we see that there was a globalization and a competitive era in international higher education. Globalization, as we know, simply means the free movement of goods and services and also people. So this has allowed for, visa regimes to be created, like you can sit down, apply for visa and go elsewhere. So this has modernized and also transformed the migration processes. So globalization has aided internationalization in that respect. But how did it happen? We see that because of this advantage, market rationales, market principles have become predominant in higher education. So you see that the profit rationale has become dominant. Private universities, especially, are just into internationalization for the economic benefits that they stand to get. And then we have international rankings. So because it is non-competitive, universities are now trying to say, I am the best. We see that international rankings has come to serve that purpose. If your institution is highly ranked, you see that you have that high demand from international students. And also these institutions that rank high also struggle to get the best brains in the developing world or in other parts of the world to employ the best students into their PhD programs, master's programs, so that they can, produce high quality research and perhaps some inventions and technology. So we see that many private players entered the market. Now, what is the current state of the internationalization of higher education? We see that in this table, these few countries, we can describe them as the global north countries, have dominated the supply. Let me enlarge it. Okay. they have dominated the international higher education space. The United States received almost 1 million of students, followed by the United Kingdom and then Canada. So Israel is the least in this list, and we see that these countries are the top receivers of international students. So how did it happen, and what does this table tell us? Let's move forward and see. So we see that, like I said, globalization has transformed the international higher education space into a competitive market. And this market has pure profit rationale. Maybe not pure, but to some extent, financial motives. So we see that in education related expenditure is around 7 trillion by 2050. There are projections that the international higher education space will reach $27 trillion. And this has made the internationalization of higher education a marketplace. And we see that the United States, which is the highest destination countries for international students, received the most of this reward, 37 billion in 2022, between 2022 and 2021. The UK got about $27 billion. And also we have Canada. Canada earned around $18 billion from international student and international related export. And then we have Australia, around 36 billion Australian dollars. So these global north countries have shown a change in strategy towards internationalization, and they see it as an economic commodity that they have to nurture and sell to the rest of the world. And we have seen that this particular financial rationale or economic rationale has spread to other countries. So we have China, which is now a dominating force in internationalization, also striving hard to receive its share of this international revenue from higher education. Then we see Russia. Russia is making serious steps. They launched, a policy development of the export potential of Russian education system under priority 30. So this is a key initiative of the Russian government to also make sure that they export their educational services to the world in exchange for increase in GDP growth or something like that. Then we see that Singapore too has strategically positioned itself through the Institute of Education, international consultancy, the Global Schoolhouse, the Singapore Math Textbook Publishing Industry, and the High Performance Education System. They have positioned themselves with these organizations to also increase their exports to the rest of the world. So now, why is this particular trend very important to other countries? Internationalization is a space, and this space has direct relationship to country development. As we have demonstrated, it increased the gross domestic product of a country tremendously. So how does it contribute to national development? So first, we have the representational dimension. Internationalization is a cultural force. The more you are there, the more you are able to spread your cultural message to the rest of the world, and at least your presence will be felt. So there's that representational dimension of internationalization. So we see that China is making efforts to make sure that they attract more students, spread the Chinese culture, just like the US did, just like other countries are doing. And it's like a competitive space for representation. Then we have the political economic dimension. Whether we like it or not, the political dimension still continues, and countries are using it as a means to train diplomats and also to influence each other country's political development and policy initiatives. Like I mentioned about the Fulbright scholarship program. So these programs train individuals for the rest of the world, and whether you like it or not, they will show some level of sympathy to the countries that train them. Then we have a symbolic capital dimension. So internationalization also has that particular ability, like, oh, I have the best institution in the world that attracts students. So it's like it gives you some power, some leverage. And we know that these institutions create knowledge for the rest of the world, especially if you have a high-class institution. So internationalization has direct relationship to development. Now, this framework was developed in relation using SEN and critical theory to show how internationalization it relates to the national development agenda of countries. So we see that in this column, internationalization currently is divided between global north and global south countries, The global north is normally the most developed countries. Then we have the elements of internationalization, which are around this space. So these are the elements of internationalization. Then we have the rest of the world, the global south, the developing countries. Some people use centers, some people use peripheries, some are saying high income countries, some are saying low income countries, some are saying developed countries, some are saying third world countries. So all these dichotomies form a framework for us to understand how internationalization is structured and how it affects the rest of the world. And now we see that there are four basic rationales for internationalization, which is political, economic, academic, and cultural and social exchange. So if you look at this and position yourself in this particular framework, you ask yourself whether you are on the receiving end or the giving end. For example, many countries are grossing highly from internationalization. Are you those contributing to their economic development, or you are part of those who are receiving that particular development? And that is the global social justice dimension that I want to emphasize here. So the elements, just like I mentioned, the flow of internationalization, we have the global north versus the south, the industrial economy versus the underdeveloped, then we have the centers, and then we have the periphery. So these are the dichotomies along which internationalization flows. Then we have the middle column, which are the key elements. We have the national and regional policy initiatives. So before you are able to benefit from them, you need to have a systematic policy that positions you to benefit from this. Then we have world-class institutions. Then we have students and academic flow. Definitely, there have to be movement of students in internationalization, movement of students and academics, of course. Then we have the process of internationalization. So like I said, the more you are there, the more you are culturally represented. That's the sociocultural dimension. The more you are there, the more you attract students, the more they increase the expenditure in your country, the more revenue you get. That's the economic dimension. Then we have the political dimension. That influence you have, that cultural exchange will build into an identity, a representational force that they can spread. And then we have the academic. The more students you receive, these are high quality students who participate in internationalization, and they definitely, produce high quality research, ensure the academic culture continues. And so there is that particular advantage too. Then we have the implication for social justice. So we have brain drain. So if you look at global north countries and global south countries, you ask yourself, which countries experience brain drain and which countries receive these people who are running away from countries? So it's a framework that can be employed to diagnose a country's higher educational system in terms of internationalization. So we have the global job market space, we have the cultural infiltration and dilution, then we have the symbolic violence, we have loss of human resource, pool of human resource. We see that people who go outside to study, only about 60% retains. And most of the high quality students are retained in the host countries. So these people will continue to be there, continue to contribute to their economic development. So there's a loss of human resource. These people could have come back and developed the nation, develop new initiatives to develop the country. But because of this loss of human resource in internationalization, you see that a country's development is tougher. So this is another dimension for internationalization. Then we have the capital flight. The more people you send abroad to study, the more they spend money, the more your citizens, gain money to send to them to study. So it represents a capital flight from the country, and all this impact your GDP, your balance of payments, accounts, and whatever. So then we have entrenched inequities, reduction of inequities as well. So you see that internationalization is not for everyone. Only specific individuals can participate. That is, if you have the money, if you have the academic achievement, which is mostly related to those who are able to have good secondary education. If you don't have good secondary education, you cannot have good academic achievement. And so we see that the whole higher education system is built on the merit system, which is not entirely equitable, because many people don't have the opportunity to study in good secondary schools and in good university, be able to get good results to participate in it. Then we have the application of the framework. So this framework is a diagnostic framework or a descriptive one. So countries or organizations, higher education students can use it to position themselves on the international higher education framework. Where are you in this? Are you a global north country, a global south country? Do you send more students than you receive? That is the diagnostic framework. Then the prescriptive framework. If you want to position yourself to benefit from this international agenda, how must you position yourself? And I see that China, Turkey, and many other countries are doing this. Instead of trying to compete with these international institutions, they are positioning themselves regionally to make sure that they become prominent institutions in their various regions, in Asia, in Asia Pacific, and all that. So it's a prescriptive framework that you have to use. So if you were sending more students, you have to develop programs to reduce this number and make sure that you attract. And that depends on the number of high quality institutions, that is world-class institutions you are able to develop in your country to do this. Then it's an evaluative framework. You can just take the framework and say, okay, yeah, now I have implemented this. How far has it helped in reducing the number of students that go outside to study and increase the number of students that come to my country to study? So this framework is very simple, but it is important for evaluative purposes. Now, I try to draw a parallel between industrialization and internationalization. So we see that slavery and colonization, which was like a trade trilogy, helped in developing industrialization because slaves were taken from Africa and India and other places and then sent to these developing countries. They work, they develop, and then advance the development of industrialization in the West. And internationalization is serving the same purpose. Internationalization plus education, then we have the knowledge economy. But this knowledge economy, we see that the leading countries are what? The global north countries. And many of them, for example, in America, you see a lot of many of the CEOs of IT companies are from India and all, those third world countries. And so it is a new form of colonization or slavery, in my opinion, internationalization, if a country hasn't positioned itself to benefit from it. So basically, this is what my presentation is about, and thank you for listening. Yeah, this is the references. I've used a lot of references. I've included most of them in the final paper, but basically this is how I intend to present it. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, I'll gladly answer them. You are muted. You are still muted.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your nice presentation and big presentation and historical.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
You shows merits and demerits both in your paper. Merits and demerits of internalization.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That is what I try to, emphasize on.
The brain drain and economic growth.
Yes,
both
exactly.
In your internalization.
Yes.
Someone can say it is a brain drain. And some people can say, no, we need this.
Yeah.
It is better for third world. Somebody says it is useful for me, useful for us. And some political leader can say it is brain drain.
Yeah.
Okay. Both sides can be analyzed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any question more? I have seen no participant yet joined. We have more two participants. The third, Noor Abdul Afra. Mr. Lukman, are you from what? Are you from what country? You?
Ghana. I'm from Ghana.
Ghana.
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Yeah, but I'm participating from Turkey. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Nice presentation.
Okay.
We are waiting for another participant if they join.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we can leave this session.
Session.
But
Okay.
our time already gone. Only 2 minutes left.
Left. Okay.
2 minutes left. So, if you, Mr. Lukman, if you say some, can say, if you want to say something now, 1 minute,
Mhm.
you can say
Mm.
on this overall conference, IAC.
Mm. Yeah. I think it was an important event, and at least I listened to DeWitt presentation yesterday. Yesterday I think, and also today I listened to Professor Mustafa's presentation, which opened my understanding about the philosophical inclinations of internationalization, especially from Asia, from America, and other parts of the world. And I think that philosophical background I was lacking it, and it seems to have influenced the way Asia sees internationalization, the way America sees internationalization, that pragmatist approach of America. So I think the whole conference was very enlightening, and I'm happy to have joined and the opportunity given me to present my work.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now I have to conclude this session. Again, I want to say very thanks for the organizer of this international conference, IAC conference 2024, Samson, Turkey.
It was a
I
pleasure.
wish their success, very success of this conference. I had wished to go physically, but due to some limitation, I cannot go to Turkey. So I joined in online version. So thank you so much, and everybody. Thank you.
It was a pleasure for us to see you here. It's not a problem you can't attend in Turkey, but we are happy to see you here.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. If you want, there's no anyone that gonna talk. You can conclude the meeting if you want.
Now, this is the end of this session. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all.